Welcome, my friends, and here we are again on Monday afternoon, but it's Tuesday because of the holiday. I always get confused. When you get old, you get a little confused. But it's a beautiful day. In Woburn, Massachusetts today is a perfect day. Like 62, 3 degrees, no wind. Nice. It'd be a perfect day to be down the beach.
Or at the pond.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we had a beautiful day to come in. And so I went home, I did a little painting, and I come down, and I said, well, I'm going to go down and talk to the Alderman at Large because it's been a year since he's been sitting in that chair. We're going to find out how his year went. So the Alderman at Large, Mike Concannon, thanks for coming in, Michael.
Thanks for having me, Ed. Happy to be here.
This is good. This is good. So what about you? Good. You did well in your election. You bounced right in there and make a...
I was pretty pleased with the outcome.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We worked hard. I had a great team helping me and got the message out, what I intended to do and what I hope to do if elected, and it worked.
So now after you take your seat, you just sit there for a while? I mean, you sit there for a while, listen and find out what the rules and regulations are and who gets to speak? And
I had been attending the meetings for about a year.
Oh yeah, they let you sit there
beforehand,
for a while.
Just, you know, in the event that I was fortunate enough to be elected, I wanted to be able to hit the ground running. So I was attending the meetings and understanding the protocols and the process, and I felt like that put me in a better position on day one to serve.
So right away they said, vote for me for president.
That's the first question I was asked. Who would I support for president?
Yeah, that's right. I think Mr. Haggerty does a pretty good job.
He does.
I think, although all of those gentlemen or ladies in the future will do a very good job, because I think once you're there for a while, all you have to do is know how to run a meeting a little bit.
Sure, keeping the meeting going and keeping everyone on point is important. Rich does a great job.
I think if more people went, it would be a little bit more difficult. You'd get a few outrageous people yelling from the audience and stuff like that. But
yeah. We've had some crowds for some of the issues, but for the most part, people are respectful. They speak their mind, but they do it in a respectful and positive way. So
now you started right off the budget, right? That had to be one of the first.
Budget was one of the early issues. In my role as the liaison to the school committee, I made sure that I attended all of their meetings. I've been trying to go to every one of their meetings starting back in November to make sure that I was fully versed on the issues that come before them, and specifically when it came to the budget, that I would understand why it was they were asking for certain expenditures. So I was fortunate enough to see the arguments being made from early in the spring all the way up till budget time, why the school committee was asking for certain things. I was able to hear from the committee itself, the administrators, the teachers, principals, and parents in the school districts. So I was able to hear pretty good arguments why our money was being well spent and why we should support their budget.
Yeah. I give them a hard time, the school committee, only because I can remember when the school committee had all the power. It was actually really laid over on one side as far as they were concerned. They could write a budget for $1 million and a lot of millions of dollars, and then you wouldn't have anything to say about it. But if they did that, then you could replace them, because you say they raised the budget and your taxes went up, so it's their fault. The mayors would be saying, they're the ones that did it, so get rid of them.
Okay.
So you could vote against them, which was okay, except for the fact that that causes more chaos. But now you have a policy committee. I mean, the principals take here, Finnegan's here in this particular beautiful building we have here. And he hires all the teachers, he does this, he does everything,
Yeah, and so I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Those changes that gave more power to the school principal, I think they were a good thing. It fosters accountability and gives the principals the authority they need to ensure success.
And some tough things over there. Like the woman who just took over, I forget her name now, just being old, but special education. Now that's a tough road to hoe.
Sure it is. Sure it is.
Because you got a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayer. You got a responsibility to the parent of the child. The parents, if I had a kid that needed extra help, those IEPs, I went, I want them all helped.
And there's so many mandates that come along with it from the state that we're required to do.
It's unbelievable, some of that stuff. But I think the young girl just took over this year. She
Yes.
does a terrific
She does a great job. And there was a transition that worked very well. She was able to pick up the baton and run with it. And I think our special ed program is run very well. Again, we deal with the mandates from the state.
Yeah.
You know, it's a huge expenditure. It's one of the budget busters. But our school committee and our school department has been able to manage it about as well as anybody else.
Yep. It's a very, very difficult thing, I have to say. I don't know how you can go to work in the morning. I'd be saying, Jesus, I need to have a cup of coffee early in the morning to go in there and say, who's going to be waiting at the door for me? Somebody's not happy.
Some pretty dedicated people doing that work.
Yeah. And Elias over there, he got a pocket full of dough, I see.
Joe's a good man. He's been over there for a long time.
Long time. I said, Joe got a 55-gallon drum full of money over here. You go in and you kiss the ring. He says, okay, I'll give you a few bucks. But
I don't know if it works exactly that way.
No, I know it's pretty close. And then they have a kid over there named Dunkley that they hired.
Yes.
Excellent person. I think I've been trying to get him in here to talk to him.
Yeah, I've been able to, he comes to a lot of the school committee meetings and updates the committee on the status of our facilities.
So
and
and they
he's
don't,
on top
he
of
doesn't
everything.
fool around. You see him right away.
Yep.
If you ask him for something, he's right there on the spot. You know, you say, I noticed a spot out here, a little pothole, and they'll fix the potholes. Being done Saturday morning.
Yeah, very proud of the facilities.
Yeah.
They take it as their mission to keep them state of the art.
So then so that's your main committee, your liaison. Is that
I'm the liaison of the school committee. I'm also on the traffic commission.
Traffic.
We've been kicking around the merits and the focus of the traffic commission as of late, trying to figure out exactly what its function should be within city government. We had a good meeting the other day, a brainstorming session.
What do you think about getting rid of the common, the Rotary?
I think it's a good idea.
I do too.
I think it's a good idea, even if we were simply doing it to reduce the accidents and the near misses. That alone is a good reason to take a close look at this plan.
Yeah.
But the fact that we can also gain at least some additional parking, I think is a bonus.
I don't even let parking come into it. I don't care if they put grass right up the city hall stairs.
Yeah, that was the
People could
original
sit
plan.
up there.
Yeah.
And, you know, now they want to park 20 odd cars. I don't know how much this job is going to cost. But it's going to cost a few bucks. But I mean, if you weigh it out against 25 parking spaces, I guess it's worth it. But anyway.
Yeah, but again, the reduction in the crashes and making it easier to get through the common, I think, is a good idea.
People don't. Well, everybody, you particularly would understand. You know, when you go around, you're facing the bank, or you're in front of City Hall. Now you're making a left there, and now you want to go in front of Moore and Parkers to go up Main Street. They're cutting across this way to go to the west side.
They call that the weave. And when you weave,
yeah.
bad
so
things
I think
happen.
we could straighten that right out. If you put some kind of a light there with the way these cameras are now, they're like that would.
Yeah, they're talking about the smart lights that can sense traffic and move it depending on the need. And you know, when I was campaigning last summer and fall down the common, holding signs on Saturdays and most nights.
You'd be hold your breath, huh?
You saw, I can't even count the number of near misses. So when we look at the crash data, that's scary enough. But if you could count the near misses and the
mayor got
blood
slammed
pressure,
there.
Yes.
Right there,
That's
on
right.
Street, right there.
That's right.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a great idea. I think those roundabouts, rotaries, whatever they call them, or however they were, horse and buggy. You know, I can remember when I was a kid, there weren't as many cars. That was another thing. You know, now it's unbelievable. Yeah. You know, I give a cottage down in Essex, Mass, and I come home on Sunday to get ahead of the traffic at noontime.
Yeah, you and everybody else.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, the traffic and how many cars there are. But that's why just doing this little bit on this program, when people go before the council and say traffic is not a good reason to deny anything because there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, it has to be considered with every development. We have to take a look at the impact.
What can you do? They say, well, we'll make the parking lots bigger. Make the parking lots bigger, they just get more cars.
Yeah. Well, what we've been able to do is take a look at the impact that some of these developments will have on traffic and see if we can help to mitigate it. a couple of developments that have come before us and a couple that are pending, particularly at the Washington Street area. We're looking at traffic upgrades, things we can do to help the traffic flow a little bit. Some of those smart lights you were just talking about,
Yeah.
potentially widening roads.
Are they ever gonna get the, Butch and Dave, what's the name of that company?
Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's. They ever gonna get that light, that street straightened out? That's never gonna be that's always gonna be a problem, yeah.
Old Mishawam.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what I mean? Because people, that light's red, there's nobody coming.
Yeah,
People go
the
there.
plan as of now is to encourage the traffic to avoid.
go around.
Yeah, to go around, to push it down to the light and have it go right.
Now, I go there a lot.
Yeah.
I shop. So I like to go over there every day and buy whatever I gotta get. Instead of going buy $500 worth of stuff. Most women have to do it that way, you know what I mean? They go and buy $500, put it in the day, I'm not going to go over again. But I like to go over there every day, and I watch that light all the time. Now, I with the watch on, I go that way, to the light. It's the exact same time.
Sure.
It may be a second or two.
It's just
that's
a
all.
subtle change in behavior that if
Oh,
more,
resistance to change is
yeah, if
unbelievable.
more people were willing to do it, and of course they'll be encouraged to with these plans.
That's right, that's
I think you'll see maybe a reduction there.
Yeah.
in
So then
congestion.
you're on budget, that's an automatic, right?
Yeah, I'm on the
budget
finance committee, and of course everybody
on that
reviews
one.
the budget.
Yeah.
And, we tried our best to hold the line this year. Scrutinize the budget as we
Scott
said we
Calvin's
would.
been the luckiest mayor that ever came down the road because
Why is that?
the meals tax money, that goes right into the pot. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, and
that's a lot of money. I don't think anybody realized how much
Well,
money
the city
it was
made a decision a few years ago, that, we felt it was worth it to increase that meals tax for specific dedicated purchases of land, open space, et cetera.
And that's how he did it, and he ended up getting a good deal. The economy went bad, the condos went away, Northeastern wants to sell. I mean, holy man, this
Yeah,
is like, I
that
hope we
was
bought a lot of lottery tickets that particular
Great
year.
opportunity to
A great
seize that
opportunity.
Whispering Hill land and the Spence Farm
Unbelievable.
land.
They built a beautiful soccer field over there.
Yeah, we're
a
over there
lacrosse
about a
or
month
whatever.
ago. They dedicated it in
for
Jack
McElhenney
McElhenney's
Field.
name.
Yeah, that was good. John McElhenney, great guy,
Sure was.
great guy.
He was one of my mentors.
So what about your first, now, what would be, I don't know how to say it, like, I don't want you to think something crazy, but like, do you have an accomplishment, like in the first year you're trying to accomplish, I mean, you got perfect attendance, so that all of that kind of stuff
yeah,
works?
I do. I have the
Okay.
attendance because I feel it's important to be there.
Yeah.
I didn't make any specific campaign promises. I promised people that I would do my best to use the experience I had professionally and personally, bring that to the council, seek a professional approach to dealing with the issues that come before us. I've done my homework. I've studied all the issues. I've listened to people. I've considered all the opinions. I'm proud of all the votes I've taken because they've been thoughtful and based on what I felt was in the best interest of the city. So I'm proud of that. I've been able to uphold that particular promise that I would approach the issues with an open mind, listen to people, and do what I felt was in the best interest of Woburn.
If I accused you of saying that you were a bureaucrat because of your development as a state policeman, you started as a patrolman, go all the way up to the top of the heap. Now you're a bureaucrat. I mean, you're in there dealing with paper all the time.
I have dealt with bureaucracy, and I still deal with bureaucracy, but I think if you had a conversation with the people who worked with me in the state police, I had a reputation of someone who tried to do things a little bit differently. Always asked the question, is there a better way of doing it? I never settled for the answer that this is how we've always done it. I don't think I had a reputation as a bureaucrat on the state police.
No, it's just I
think it was probably more of a
I didn't
change
mean by a
master.
reputation. What I was saying, that's you were being trained as you went along from patrolman to sergeant to lieutenant to captain. Blah blah. You're
Yep.
being trained as a bureaucrat.
That's true.
Right?
Well, understanding the process, knowing how to
Yeah.
get things done. I guess I would agree to that, I spent a decent amount of time at each rank, learning the rank, understanding, what the roles and responsibilities were, always trying to understand the big picture. So if I was ever fortunate to get up to the rank of major, I could get some things done.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's what it should be. I mean, I think all that relates to how you look at government, though.
Sure.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
you think?
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
all-
you have an outlook at how government works from the police side.
Sure,
You
yeah.
know.
And public service is about trying to get things done.
If you drive by the headquarters, where's the headquarters of state police now?
Framingham, Route 9 in Framingham.
Okay, Framingham. That's where they used to have the school and all.
That's
that
where I
stuff.
went to the academy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you were driving by there and you went in there, would they say, "Who the hell are you?" Or would they?
I guess it depends who comes to the door. I think if, some people might
Yeah,
welcome with open
yeah.
arms, others
Some
might
people
say,
say, "Oh,
I
here he
vaguely
comes."
remember the name,
I
but
know it. Yeah, I never had anything to do with that.
it's
guy.
changed.
What kind of a guy was he? Maybe we should
there's,
look.
there's 2,500 state troopers and there's 150 new ones coming every year. So
Yeah.
at some point, maybe I'll just be a vague memory. But I think only 3 years out, I think I'd be welcome.
I said to Tom McLaughlin, who I know since he was a kid up on, because I lived on Liberty Avenue,
Mhm.
where I got out of service, and I used to see the state police because I knew his father was a politician. He was an alderman at
Yes.
large too, and the truck car would be parked there, So then we became there down interviewing him one day, and I said, "Do you remember when you first get in the car? Where'd you go get coffee at 2 in the morning, and where'd you do all that stuff?" Geez, he was looking at me like, what difference does it make? I said, because those are the things you kind of remember when you first get
Sure
the
you do.
job. When you go alone.
Oh, I broke
you
in out at the Holden Barracks out by Worcester, working the midnight shift. And I was patrolling some of the towns like Barry and Rutland. And I was probably the only car on the road for miles.
And you were the only cop too, because this cousin of mine we were talking about earlier, he was like the sheriff of every, there was no
Some of
police.
those towns, they shut down at night. And
Yeah.
we were it.
And they'd call up and say to his wife, Betty, they'd say, "Betty, get Larry up because some Johnny's beating up the wife. Get over there."
Yeah.
Of course, now he's got to get all dolled up in his uniform and everything. I said, Jesus. But he loved it there, loved it. Oh,
Yeah.
But those are the things you kind of remember about an experience like that after you retire. You say, boy, I come a long way from Holden, boy.
You remember, I think mostly you remember the people. I worked with some great people in the state police, lifelong friends. You never forget that. They're like you said earlier with the bureaucracy.
Yeah.
The higher I rose in rank, sometimes the more difficult it became to get things done. Some of that was frustrating, but you kind of forget about that stuff and you focus on the great people you worked with.
Well, let's change the subject a little bit. What do you think? Do you have any first impressions about the Grace property over there on Washington Street? Boy, getting something done there.
Yeah, we had a neighborhood meeting the other night with the developer, Madison Properties, and probably about I'd say 30 to 40 of the neighbors came out. So we had a presentation. First opportunity for many of us to see it. I like the idea that it's being developed. I think it's great. Put that behind us and turn that land into something useful. I think that's great. I think we have to look closely at the project.
That's a nightmare for the traffic department.
Sure it is. It's Washington Street, the busiest street in our city and maybe even in surrounding cities. We have to tread lightly whenever we add new development to Washington Street. As we spoke of earlier, there's some mitigation opportunities over there to help with the widening and the traffic lights. As of right now, they're talking about a hotel and 3 restaurants.
Is it, somebody put out a rumor, I don't know if it was a rumor, it was in the paper, I can't remember, there was a hotel from the West Coast, like a West.
They haven't finalized the deal yet. They mentioned kind of a unique arrangement with 2 types of hotels sharing the space. One more of an extended stay and the other more of an overnight hotel. Hilton was one of the names that was mentioned, but again, it's not finalized yet.
And I didn't understand all the rest of it, like 2 or 3 restaurants there. I said, geez.
Yeah. One I guess would be similar to an Olive Garden. Another one would be a fast food drive-through, Chick-fil-A, I think is who they mentioned, and the third one wasn't determined yet. Those are things we have to look at. The use of the space, how it would flow together, whether there might be too much going on in that parcel. We'll look at that closely in committee.
Because I said, boy, You might be able to get in off the Washington Street to get off the road to get into the hotel, but when you're gonna leave there in the morning, boy, you're gonna have
Yeah.
a hard time going.
One of the things that they did mention was the primary access would be through the tower office roadway where the traffic
Yeah.
light is.
They have to get permission from Cummings there?
I
Is
guess
that
they're working on it. Dennis Clark from Cummings was
Yeah.
at the meeting the other night. Generally supportive of the project.
Yeah, that would be good.
Trying to be a good neighbor and, obviously wants to see the details as well, but he was supportive of it. So I think things like that could be worked.
That may make the other lot on the other side, that once this one goes, then maybe the other one will go too.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
So what else do you see in the future? See anything other big deals outside of Wegmans opening and that,
Big deals in Woburn.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of residential
projects
projects
you got
going now
there?
right near me.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got, the municipal developments, the school,
School.
potentially the fire station, the library. There's a lot of buildings. I don't think you'll see, besides Washington Street and the Madison Properties Hotel, I don't think you'll see too many that big anytime soon. Again,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, Dave and Buster's is in
Dave
the
and
works. They've got the foundation in now. So I guess there's a lot going on now anyway.
It's pretty interesting. I asked the mayor, I said, even I talked to Mr. Haggerty, and I asked him about how many, did you get any phone calls on the overlay district? That was done before you got
Yeah,
there.
that was done before I was there. We have a committee, and I know the mayor is aggressively marketing that area, trying to get some people to
Because
look into that.
Burlington, they're just going wild up there with Wegmans and all these other
Yeah,
buildings.
they're doing a great job there, and
But it's almost like Nordblum or one of those big realtors come in there and they took care of the whole
yeah.
thing.
One of the issues down in the overlay district right now is there are certain parcels that are sewn up for a period of time
Yeah.
through leases, long-term leases. So I don't think we're in a position where we have wide open tracts of land. We have some pieces that maybe we could put together, but we're still in the process of trying to attract some people down there, but I don't think we have the huge tract of land that Burlington
they
had
had.
available. You may see something at the Woburn Mall. You may see refurbishing or
Yeah, they need a
something
store.
new down
They
there.
need one of them, what do they call them, stores, like the
The
Moose
anchor
is
store?
down here, you need something
Yeah.
down the other end.
I wouldn't be surprised in the next few years to see something happen at the mall.
Yeah. I think it's a good place, but it's easy to get to,
Yeah,
in and out of.
yeah. They
So
just
that
got to have
part
the
of it
right
all
the right
works.
stores to be competitive.
Well, Miss Gatta, how about you want to watch the weather and we'll kick you guys out of here? All right? '77. When's it say 77 there? All right. All right. Concannon's gone. We can talk about him. We only got 4 minutes left. I want to talk a little bit about the questions on the ballot. There's going to be 4 questions on the ballot. We know what those 4 are: the gas tax, the casinos, earning hours pay at work, then whatever, the bottle bill. Those are the 4. So I said vote yes on all of those. And then we have one question just relative to the city of Woburn, which is the Community Preservation Act. And it's still a little foggy in my mind. I could be convinced to vote for it, but right now I'm like 60-40 against it because I think it's a tax. And the reason I say I'm 60-40 is because the issues that they cover, or they're going to cover with the money that's raised, are things that the city of Woburn does particularly well at this time in history. So but their argument is if you don't get into the game, you can't get your hands on the money. Now that's the same argument that the casinos use when they say that I go to Mohegan Sun and I lose my money in Connecticut. They'd rather have me lose it in Everett or Revere or someplace else. So, I mean, if I'm gonna go spend money, I might as well spend it here. So therefore, vote for our casinos. I'm not so sure I agree with that. The other thing about the Community Preservation Act is that we keep getting examples. The two ladies that were here had a communication in the Times. What was her name, Lauren? Youngglass, was it? You remember? Claus, oh, I'm sorry, okay. So they talked about $300,000 houses and $400,000 houses, and you get $100,000 off your assessment, then you multiply it out, it comes out to $30 or $40 for a house. But they don't say anything about the commercial people, the mom and pop store, or a dry cleaners, or a little business, or the Atlantic Gelatin, Cummings Properties, I mean, those are the people that are going to get hit pretty hard by this. So it'll be interesting to see. But you have to turn around and get a piece of paper, and on the day before the election is write down all your choices, starting with governor. And then my friend Tom, I have a friend named Tom Sheff who's running for governor's council out of Newton. It's District 3, we're in District 3. And he's been in here a couple of times now because he's ran before. Nice guy, very interested in doing the job. And if you're interested in that governor's council business, then give him a vote. But I mean, the ballot's going to be long, so you're going to be there for a couple of minutes anyway. There'll be a lot of people voting, and then down the bottom it'll say, don't forget the ballot questions are on the other side. You turn it over, and you see printed that you can't even read because it's so small, and it's all legalese by like Mr. Concannon said here a few minutes ago, it's all written out by the Secretary of State's office. So if you're not a lawyer, you really don't understand it. But you get to vote yes or no on certain subjects. So I think next week Paul's coming in. I talked to him this morning, and he's all gung-ho about the ballot questions. So he'll have I'm sure, I'm not going to say anything, I'll just say, and I think that the people that are proposing the Community Preservation Act, I think are having, I think there's an open meeting maybe in City Hall this Thursday. The time, I'm not sure about, but I think they're having a meeting Thursday. So we'll get plenty of information. We're at 7 o'clock? Yeah. Okay, 7 o'clock at City Hall Thursday. They're going to talk about the community. So if you got questions, go down and ask them. I had a question about if all of this proposal goes before the city council, and if it passes, then we have an opportunity to get the city has an opportunity to get the money. And I just was wondering how many votes you had to get, 5, or do you have to get 6 out of the 9, or 5 to 4, or whatever. So they thought it was just a simple majority. So we'll get that straightened out. But it'll be an interesting thing. Now my friend Ms. Gatta has to get out of here because she's working at City Hall tonight. See, this is a busy operation right here. She's got to run out there and get her camera warmed up, and she's going to film Concannon, who's running down ahead of her to get in the seat, so he'll be in the seat by the time she gets there and gets her camera warmed. But anyway, next time. Thanks for watching.